Bruce Edelman. Andrew Beckstrom defeated him like he did in round 8. We also had a Zach Stern face off against Josh Bauer. Josh Bauer won with Black Devotion. You just saw that match, hopefully. And finally, Matt Hoey defeated Lucas Parson in 2 games with Black White Midrange against Lucas Parson's Black Devotion deck.
Okay, and now for what we have here, you have Mark Byrd on the left with Mono Blue Devotion. Michael Hamilton on the right with Blue-White Control. Now, Mark Byrd, he won the first game, and Michael Hamilton, in a very long game 2, ended up winning the game 2. One of the things that's very dangerous about the Blue Devotion player is if you've got the setup that he has, which is numerous counterspells, Axelist, Jace Memory Adept, Gainsay, Dissolve, Counterspell, Cyclonic Rift. One of the things that can very, very easily happen is that Mark Byrd can actually take the control role or the beatdown role. It's very easy for Mark Byrd, for example, to land a Jace of or a Bident and then just ride it with counterspells. So Michael Hamilton, he has to treat Mark Byrd like an aggro deck, but he can't pretend that Mark Byrd can't just outclass him with card advantage.
So you think Mark Byrd actually brings in 11 cards here?
He's going to board in a lot. I mean, he has access to it. Negate, Jace Memory Adept, Dispel, Gainsay, Dissolve. I know Andrew Beckstrom, for example, that he boarded in, I believe, 12 cards in the blue-white matchup.
So gets to be borderline transformational sideboard at that point.
It really does. It really does. Now, Michael Hamilton, though, one of the reasons that Mark Byrd can't be a true aggro control deck in this matchup, for an aggro control deck to work, what you have to do is you put down a clock, then you protect that clock with things that kind of waste your opponent's time, like counterspells. Well, you can't do that to a Supreme Verdict. Supreme Verdict just says, no, I'm happening. So this is one of the reasons why the card advantage engines that exist in the Blue Devotion deck are a part of their plan for the successful Blue Devotion players against Blue-White Control. Now, Michael Hamilton is playing the planar cleansing version of the deck, which means he doesn't have the fast answers like Detention Sphere for a card like Thassa. And he does have one Deicide in his sideboard, which is certainly going to be a card I bet you he hopes that he draws. With only one in the deck, he can't overload on Deicides, and only thing he has to touch is that Thassa. Thassa is a very good card, and getting rid of the Thassa, a very big deal.
Do you think Michael Hamilton would consider Nyx Fleece Ram in this matchup?
I mean, I think it's possible for him to consider it, and one of the things about Nyx Fleece Ram is it's good against a generic aggressive deck, but let's pretend Michael Hamilton lays that Nyx Fleece Ram and Mark Byrd just says, okay, turn 4, I will cast this Bident and swing in the air for 1 and take over the game with my counterspells. You have to be very cautious when you're playing the blue-white control list that you don't end up going too much in treating your mono blue devotion player as though they're an aggro deck, because they have this entirely other mode of the game where it can be Night Veil Spectre plus Thassa plus Bident plus Jace as a way just to completely out-card advantage the most controlling deck in the format. We saw actually something like that happen earlier when Andrew Beckstrom defeated Edelman, where he laid a Bident down, and even if Edelman hadn't had mana troubles, he would have just been overwhelmed by the crazy amounts of cards that Night Veil Spectre and the Bident were giving him.
Definitely a card that can get out of control. I guess just wonder without Bident if the blue deck can put enough threats on the board to even force the Wrath if he just drops a Nyx Fleece Ram every once in a while.
Yeah, I'm not certain. Nyx Fleece Ram is a card that I have not seen played against Blue Devotion, but it's certainly a choice. I just don't know whether or not the Nyx Fleece Ram players are playing it. I would be cautious, mostly just because there are the two sides of the Blue Devotion deck that you have to worry about. Michael Hamilton, I guess he'll be showing us. We did not have Michael Hamilton and Mark Byrd under the camera last round, so we don't know. And actually, I think that this is the first time we've seen Mark Byrd under the camera all weekend.
Yeah, he was kind of just below the group of players we were like. He had one loss when we were still covering most of the undefeated players. I think he picked up a draw later, so he was always like kind of lower in the standings, and we did do a lot of draw bracket rounds. He's been just outside our vision for most of the day.
And
he almost got a feature match one round, I think.
Michael Hamilton, on the other hand, we did see him defeat Lucas Carlson in the last round of the event, last round of the Swiss. Lucas Carlson playing Red, White, Burn, and Michael Hamilton pretty handily defeating him in a 2-0 match. And apparently Lucas Carlson said that game one, he had enough damage with Toil Trouble to be able to 16 Michael Hamilton, but it would knock Michael Hamilton down to 1, and that was just barely miss. And Lucas said he felt like he somehow missed a point of damage in there. And again, this is a thing that has been attributed to a lot of players, but I first heard it attributed to you, that if you're an aggressive deck and you get your opponent down to 1, you probably messed up somewhere.
It's often true.
Little earthquake there in the feature match area.
I don't know if you felt that at home.
And our players are finally getting their hands together, going to gaze at what they got. I see a lot of islands there for Mark Byrd, but is that a Frostburn Weird? It's actually a pretty perfect start for Mark. You actually board out several of your cards that you normally might keep. A lot of players board out Cloudfin Raptor and Master of Waves in this just to be able to try to half be that aggro control deck. Frostburn Weird is a good way to do that because one card can do a lot of damage.
I don't know, man. If I was blue by control, my opponent showed a hand with 4. My aggro opponent showed me a hand with 4 lands in it. I think I'd be happy.
Yeah. And leaves it on top there with his second land. We see a dissolve in hand.
Yeah.
I think we're just going to see take 1 go.
Yeah, really critical is Michael Hamilton being able to stop that Biden from coming down. If he can do that.
He goes all in. He's like, what are you going to cast on turn 3 that I care about? Take 4.
Nick's Fleece Ram. Blocks Frostburn Weird all day.
Now Michael Hamilton has access to 3 Last Breath total between main and sideboard. He has access to 1 Celestial Flare between main and side. And I see an Elixir, I see a Dissolve. There's the 3rd land, he says go. And now here's the moment where Mark Byrd actually, because he doesn't have anything to particularly fear in retaliation, if Michael is saying, I'm going to hang back on counter magic, Mark can just say, well, how about I beat you in the head with this Frostburn Weird for a few more turns?
Yeah. Like he has the aggressor in play, so he can hopefully make Michael Hamilton do something at some point, and then be able to get that Biden through. Awkwardly, probably can't pump here because he has a removal spell. He's going to want to get Biden down.
I mean, I don't mind pumping a little bit, as long as you do it 1, do it 1, do it 1.
No, he's pumping away.
Pump. Last breath. And I think what we're going to have is the conversation about what pump means these days.
Here comes the argument.
Yep. If you don't know, one of the things that happens in Magic these days, the judging philosophy is such that there are shortcuts that sometimes end up being reversed as do it once, do it once, do it once. It looks like in this case that is not how it was called.
But maybe Mark...
we might have to do a quick pause. We'll see what happens.
Michael Hamilton might have just convinced him that's what happened.
We might have gone just a step too fast for... We're already in the next turn. Judge is familiar. The argument was apparently conceded by Mark Byrd. De facto conceded.
Yeah. Call a judge when that happens.
Players at home, the judge is your friend.
I kind of agree with backing up and letting him keep his creature there. It's a time saver. it's assumed, I think, that you're going to play your effects intelligently.
Here we have the Bident with a Judge's Familiar and a Gainsay for backup. You have to let this, you have to fight for this, I mean. We see the Dissolve. The Gainsay is going to stop that Dissolve. And, oh, Doctor. That's...
Here comes two Ophidians.
Here comes, you know what, a little bit better than two Ophidians. Oh, there's an Earthquake. Maybe that'll save Michael Hamilton's day. Okay. So 2 extra cards. That is just really devastating here. Even though the Supreme Verdict is wiping the table.
If Michael Hamilton just had one more land, he does have one more land, doesn't he? He could have just planar cleansing.
No, planar cleansing gets stopped by the judge. Judge's Familiar.
Oh, okay.
Now we've got
bad player B would have lost that game.
Counter Magic versus nothing, and you might think this favors blue-white, but that is a lot of counter magic in hand. Negate and Dissolve in hand. All that Mark
just
Byrd
added
needs.
a Dispel to it.
Oh wow! Quicken. Okay. Draw a card. What is that?
Quicken Divination.
I think that. Ooh, that is. Does that even work? I don't know that that works. It does not become an instant. It is treated as an instant, but not. I don't. Let's find out. Let's see what the judges say. I am not a level 2 judge anymore. It's been many years since I've been a level 2 judge. Rashad says that is not an instant.
Yeah. Rashad thinks he knows what happens here. We'll see what the real judge is.
Negate takes care of things.
He was right. He was right.
Who knew? Apparently Rashad knew. If you're just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here in the booth with Brian Cole. GG's Live covering the WMCQ here in Indianapolis, Indiana. We're down to 8 players. Officially, it's more like 5. 3 of our matches are done. This quarterfinal match is the final quarterfinal match. And we have a creature. That's a pretty good one. And there are no counters in hand for Michael Hamilton. He has a Elixir, a Planar Cleansing, and did you catch what that last card was?
It might be the Deicide.
Okay, Planar Cleansing. Is that negate the only counterspell you have for it? Okay, Dissolve, and Michael Hamilton knows you have a Dispel in hand. Here you go. Dissolve top or bottom, and then you're going to have the Night Veil Spectre plus the Bident, and you start seeing what I mean about the out-card advantaging the control deck.
Yeah, it's like 2 cards a turn now.
Wow, this is the moment where the game just runs away. Let's see what it does. Trigger, trigger. Do you have anything, Michael Hamilton? Do you have a last breath? Do you have... What's that last card? And Michael Hamilton says, let me see what you got in that graveyard. Let me see what kind of resources you've used up already. Yeah, this is one of those situations when players say that blue-white just beats mono-blue devotion. If you're a mono-blue devotion player and you've got the right plan, you have a fight that you can put up. He says, deicide that Bident. I don't like it. Nope.
Mark Byrd wants to continue to draw cards.
Trigger, trigger. Oh my goodness. That was a monster of a rip there. And a Mutavault. Wow. Okay, Syncopate is revealed by the Night Veil Spectre. And we've got a main phase Divination here. That's going to probably resolve. We got to count. 1, 2, 3.
I would not counter this Divination, even if I could.
Was that a sure? I think that was a sure. Land. Is that a Planar Cleansing?
Yes.
Well, we know what that Planar Cleansing does. It gets syncopated. Also, it would knock out the Elixir, which wouldn't be very... Oh, Earthquake wouldn't be very good for Michael Hamilton.
Rashad is, has left to beat someone down, I think.
Well, I mean, one of the things, Rashad is similar to Superman. He can stop natural disasters. He's going to stop the earthquakes from happening. Yeah. Meanwhile, here in the world of Magic, Night Veil Spectre and Mutavault, trigger, trigger, trigger. That's going to be 1 card for the Spectre. Then it's going to... Oh, another Mutavault. Ouch. And then 2 draws from the trigger on the Bident. He puts the enemy Mutavault into play, which makes things really horrific for Michael Hamilton. Trying to figure out what Michael Hamilton can draw here. I think he needs to draw Dispel and Sphinx's Revelation before he dies.
Yeah, I just don't.
Judge's Familiar. It doesn't seem like much,
Mark
but
Byrd
that says -1 mana to an opponent.
in the old driver's seat.
I think we might be seeing a semifinal Blue Devotion mirror. Waiting in the wings, Andrew Beckstrom will be facing the winner of this match. And Elixir, 5 life. I still like it after sideboard, even though right now it does not feel very exciting.
Now, has Mark Byrd maybe set himself up to... no, he has the... Never mind.
The Syncopate.
No, I see he has the Judge's Familiar, but if Michael Hamilton draws a land and plays a land, he actually has enough to pay for the Syncopate with the Player Cleansing.
The Judge's Familiar being relevant.
Yeah.
And it's
Judge's
funny.
Familiar, save him again.
Yeah, it's the same thing as the extra mana for a Syncopate, except for it also triggers the Bident.
It's like land.
Okay, Michael Hamilton, Supreme Verdict, not so bad.
Yeah, he's only
Can't
going to have
syncopate
2 creatures
that.
left to draw him a card to return.
Now, we still have a chain of card advantage coming here. And I think we're going to see let's see if you've got it. Do you have the final counterspell? A lot of cards in hand. That Bident might be gone. But it might have done enough damage that...
Yeah, it might not matter as much.
Bident's gone. And draw. I think we're going to see 4 damage coming on, and here they come. Islands feed the Mutavault. Land. Ooh, that is a really bad hand.
He drew quite a few lands off the...
Hall. Name's blue, I'm guessing.
If he just forgets to name a color, he could have gone in for 6.
Sphinx's Revelation would be what Michael Hamilton needs right here. That's not bad. Wow. Is that a rapid hybridization in his hand, though? A rapid hybridization says, I guess you've got a goat, crocodile, squirrel, or whatever those creatures are.
It's a scissors lizard, I think.
Oh, okay. And amusingly, though, that creature is bigger than those Mutavaults, so it does brick everything. Oh, but wait. We've got everything's unblockable guy. That's Thassa. And does he have enough mana to make everybody come at it? Oh, there's 1, 2, 3. Activate. Unblockable, unblockable. Take 4. You are a turn from death. Tapped out right now. Michael Hamilton has to draw Sphinx's Revelation, do it for the whole deal, and then still figure out a way out of this game. Remember, his only Deicide is in the graveyard. Well, pardon me, it was elixired back in. Right there. Divination's a start. Now just need to get a Sphinx's Revelation off that.
Can he draw the Deicide?
Is that a Verdict and a Last Breath? Last Breath will keep him alive.
Yeah, he could have drawn like Quicken Supreme Verdict, I guess, too.
Quicken Supreme Verdict. That's true. That's true. And now we have. Let's see what's on top. Is that any good? That doesn't feel very nice if you're the blue-white control player and they say let's keep it. Bident. Oh boy, rough beats.
Kind of a greedy Bident.
It does mean, however, has he laid a land? Because that means he can't activate both Mutavaults. He does have a land. Last card, activate both Mutavaults, make them both unblockable, and come on in for the kill, tapping out completely to do it. And that will mean a Last Breath will hit one of them. Michael Hamilton down to 1. And draw a card from the Bident. As long as he remembers anyway. Beneficial trope, there it is. Back to you, Michael Hamilton. 1 to 28. You can still dig out of this if you draw Sphinx's Revelation. I believe you said he has a Verdict in hand, so a Quicken will still keep him around. Another.
No, I don't know. He does have a Verdict, yeah.
Oh, that'll do it right there. That is it. He says go. Thassa looks one last time lovingly at the top of the library, says, I don't want to draw that. And activate. It's unblockable. It's handshake.
That's a game for Mark
Mark
Byrd.
Byrd takes down Michael Hamilton in 3 games, and we do have a semifinal setup completed here.